Hey, good evening. Welcome out to tonight's coaches call for all of the coaching members here at Tax Sale Support. We just want to thank you for joining us this evening. We enjoy doing these coaches calls every week. We like getting a lot of interaction with you guys, so don't hesitate to ask questions. That's really what these are for. These are small groups.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably have a couple of new coaching students on the line this evening, so we want to welcome you, and we also kind of welcome the guys that have been with us for a couple of years now.
Yeah, we do have a lot of you, and tax sale investing is long term. It's not a quick investment, generally speaking. It's something. It's real estate, and real estate generally something that you do over long periods of time, and so.
Well, and that's part of what's nice about being part of the coaching program is that we're really working together as a group. I mean, all of you guys are doing individual deals, but in a way, we're all progressing through kind of the same steps, going through, the same process. And really, this is a long-term program. So when somebody becomes a member of the coaching program versus just a member of the website, it really is a long haul where we plan on, working with you not only this year, but as you continue to build your business and do more and more deals. There may be different types of opportunities with additional advanced training, but also just helping you progress through those deals.
Yeah, in fact, we don't really kick anybody out of the coaching program ever. I think once you're in, you're kind of always in, and it's still a very small group, really. So yeah, we are happy to have you guys here. And really, this group that we have are very like-minded individuals, and that also makes it nice. We have people that tend to want to accomplish a lot of the same things. That are very focused on similar things and have had similar experiences. So it works out really well. Now, before we get into the topic here for tonight, just for quick news or announcements, we do have the Las Vegas event coming up here on October 11th to the 13th. And I think we still have a couple of seats that are still available if anybody would like to attend. There are still a few seats available. You can get the tickets for $9.97.
And what's going to be cool about this event is, except for, a couple of people that have, registered, most of the students are going to be actually members of the coaching program. So, we've really got a good group of individuals there, which means that we're not going to have to spend time going over kind of the basics that we normally would with a generic type tax sale investing 3-day. With this 3-day, because we're going to have such a high level of student there that have already done deals, we're really going to be focusing on not only aspects of higher level tax sale investing, whether they get into structures and different types of large land deals, but also even different things like, protecting those assets, protecting your investment, building your business as a real business.
Yeah, we're looking to cover things that I think are going to help you progress, help you get started, and yeah, the beauty of an event like this is that we're no longer confined by locations when it comes to our ability to buy things, our ability to conduct research. And so we can go on location to a place like that and still, be able to show people things that they can go and take back and do at home after they learn it there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the topic we're going to cover here for tonight is all about the upcoming opportunity that happens here. Actually, I think it just started today with Forrest County, Mississippi, and some of the properties that are going to be available here through this sale. Now, for some of you may be thinking Mississippi is a tax lien state.
Yeah, well, it's definitely, what it would be if you were to look in the books and things. But like a lot of states, they're really trying to recoup their tax investment or their delinquent taxes. And so what Mississippi has done, along with a lot of tax lien states, is liens that don't sell are eventually turned into tax deeds and sold. And so we've seen this in Alabama, we've seen it in even Arizona, Colorado, Florida's been obviously doing it for a long time, but in Mississippi, what they do is after 3 years, if the tax lien hasn't been purchased and the foreclosure done, then they send all of those tax liens over to the state's office. And then what the state does is go ahead and they foreclose on those properties and sell them as tax deeds, essentially. What you actually receive is a land patent, which is similar to a tax deed just given through the government. So it does give you an opportunity to buy tax deeds in Mississippi.
Yeah, and I see we have a question here from Steve, but it doesn't totally make sense to me here. Saying that you've discovered that they don't record the sales. Anyways, if you could clarify a little bit on that. I don't know if you mean that they're not recording the.
Oh, maybe he's talking about sales of the property.
Yeah.
Really, if we're going to be even the assessed value when we're looking at a property in an area, we're really going to base that off the market value when we're doing our evaluation. So, I think a couple of months ago we purchased one of those properties, and I don't know if this is the question answer or not, but we purchased one for like $240 on one of our calls, but it only had assessed value of $2,000. But in doing the research, the property had a lot higher value than $2,000.
Yeah, we believed that it was under assessed there, or it was basically it was based on an old assessment, and therefore, we believed that it was worth more, and so I think it turned out to be a good deal. But it does bring up a good point here. And by the way, see if you want to clarify on that, we'll see, because I doubt that we've answered your question here. But for starters here with the Mississippi sales, we want to help everybody understand how to navigate them and how to participate there. Also, like Steve was mentioning, they are a lien state, but the county, finds ways to offer up property for sale. They have county-held land, and this is true of many states. It's not just Mississippi, but we really find this in lots of states that at some point the counties end up with a certain amount of county-held land, and they don't want to hold on to that property. What they would prefer to do is have a property owner, holding it that pays their property taxes. But the problem that counties have had in the past was I don't think they had very easy ways to sell this property, especially some counties that maybe weren't located near other things. They may have really struggled to try to unload these properties for a long time. And so a lot of these counties have probably been building up this inventory of properties because they didn't have a good way to sell it.
Well, yeah, and there's a couple things that come into play with that. First of all, Mississippi's not like it's killing it in the interest rate category. I can't remember if they're 10, 11, they're in the lower end of the interest on that.
Yeah, so their tax liens don't pay out a high interest rate return, therefore so they don't attract a lot of out-of-state investors.
Yeah, and unless they're doing it online, or you are one of the big states like Florida or Arizona, there's not going to have that same competition of out-of-state investors. So probably what they have is just local investors that go buy these tax liens, and they only have so many local investors. These counties aren't good about marketing their property. They're still doing the same thing to market their property, putting it in the legal section and posting it at the county courthouse front. It's not like they're blasting the news or putting it on the radio or any type of marketing to get people there. They're just doing kind of the bare minimum of what state law requires. And so in doing that, it's not like everyone in town knows there's a big tax sale. It's really only the people that know about tax liens, which is probably a small percentage of the population within that area, that even know about it or kind of understand how it works enough to even buy.
Yeah, I think that's true. For us, fortunately, it's very easy to participate and to even be able to do some of the due diligence and research on these properties. And so it creates a good investment opportunity for us. The sales format is a little bit different. It's unique to Mississippi. As far as I know, they're the only ones that hold these sales that we call buy it now auctions. But they are kind of a mix of over-the-counter investing and an auction experience as well, because there actually is an opportunity to be able to buy these properties for a pretty good low price, just as the way they're listed. They're buy now prices.
Yeah, exactly. And so, we've kind of shown some of these different auctions that have taken place over the last few months. And this is a great opportunity to either purchase the property like we did. We saw that 200, it was 220, 240 bucks, something like that, is the buy it now price. And, we figured it was a good enough property, even though it only had an assessed value of $2,000. We think that the market value was at least double that, if not quite a bit higher. That it was worth buying it for $240, so we went ahead and bought it. Now, in addition to the auctions, you can actually submit offers on any property that's available on the Mississippi State website. So with these buy it now auctions, we've been able to get better prices and some of the buy it now prices and getting some of the better offers accepted. But that doesn't mean that we can't submit offers on any of the properties available. In fact, me and Shade were talking yesterday that maybe in some of the properties that didn't sell at the last sale, if we look them up and they're still available, maybe sending in offers on those, because you can do it kind of through the same system on the same website.
Yeah. And by the way, thank you for clarifying on that, Steve. It sounds like you talked to a lady in the public lands division. He was asking her about where to find sales prices, and she said that Mississippi is a non-disclosure state, and so probably meaning that they're not by law they don't disclose something like the sales price, I'm guessing here, automatically.
Yeah.
And then with that, wondering how you become comfortable with what a parcel may be worth, and that makes perfect sense, I think. In other words, you're wondering if that makes it more difficult to determine property value.
Yeah, and really what we're going to look at there, and I think that there'll still be some that we see sold like on Zillow and stuff, because people will go ahead and sell it on the website and it'll record that information. So there may be like some sales prices we can find that are outside the public record because they listed their property on Zillow and it sold on Zillow. And so, they put sold and it went ahead and marked it that way. And so there could be those, but they may not, you may not be able to go ahead and look up that information, through the record systems, or they may not be pulling it automatically, Zillow, like they may in other states. But really, that's where we're just going to see what's currently available, how many properties are for sale. And when we're spending less than 10 cents on the dollar, as long as we, really check the value, we're going to be profitable in that deal. Now, maybe we, if we bought that $240 property, maybe we're able to sell it for $5,000. Maybe we're able to sell it for $2,000. But either way, we're making a huge return off of that initial investment.
Also, just to add to it, a big part of the choice that we make to buy properties is based on what we learn from comps.
Yeah. And
comps are really, I think that is really kind of what we lean on more to determine roughly, what the property value is. It's to see what's on the market right now, and maybe you can also see, I haven't looked in Mississippi at the to see if they have lists of what's sold, but I think they do, even though they may be a non-disclosure state. So I don't think it'll actually really change it, very much, because we really just kind of base it on the comps anyway. And
it makes a lot bigger difference when you're investing in property like a normal real estate investor, where you are buying the property for 90 cents on the dollar and you're trying to make 10 cents on the dollar work, where, having an exact specific comp of how much this property sells for. And a lot of what we're looking at here is land. And so it's going to be a little bit more fluid than it would in a structured property, because it is a piece of land, and the street, the area, the size, all of those things could, dictate it as well.
Yeah, determining the value is something that we're kind of estimating or are guessing on. But Steve's right in that it doesn't play the same role, comps and pricing. It doesn't play the same role that normal real estate investors that it does for them, because for them, when you're paying full market price, those are all the things that really matter. And for us, buying wholesale, it doesn't have as big an effect. Now,
if we were to go ahead and even just take something like Zillow or go on Realtor.com and look up, the properties for sale within the square mile, and we see tons of properties that are listed at 1,000 or 1,500, 2,000, just a bunch of cheap properties for sale. Well, then that's going to be an area where it's going to be a red flag, and we'll have to evaluate a little bit more to see, are those cheaper properties junk properties like side lots or non-buildables, or are they comparable to what we're looking at? And we may go ahead and choose another area. But if there isn't that type of cheap property available, well, we know at least within that area, we would have the opportunity to offer a property for cheaper than anyone else.
Yeah. If there isn't, a wholesale property there, we have the chance to bring it, and to offer it there. Now, the sales, these buy it now sales that Mississippi holds, they run for about a month. So this one actually just started here on the 18th today. And it will end on October 16th. Okay. Now, a couple things here to note. First off, Mississippi is similar to Arkansas in that they have a single office that handles many of the tax sale responsibilities. In Mississippi, it's the Secretary of State. In Arkansas, they have the Commissioner of State Lands. But this is something that can simplify the process quite a bit here when it comes to locating tax information or lists. And so that's one of the ways that you can find these easily. You can either do it through tax sale support. You can also simply pull up a Google search that I do all the time and just type in MS tax sale property. Now, what exactly do we know about, what is it we know about Forrest County, Mississippi? Really, I didn't know anything before I saw this sale. So I figured I would pull up here, kind of show everybody what it is so we understand it, and also see how we approach areas. So it's an area that we're unfamiliar with. So the first thing we want to know is where it's located at. We also want to know about how big it is, what cities may, fall within it. And so from here we can see that it has a population of about 75,000.
And it's in from the Gulf a bit, so you're at least a little bit more protected from things like, hurricanes and stuff like that. That's the one thing about investing in land, though, is that, there's nothing to really protect if there is something like that. By the time you get done, it's going to look that, it's going to still be land.
Yeah. So, we can get an idea here of where the location here on the property is. Yeah, I think it's about 20 to 30 miles north there of the Gulfport area. They also had some of the different cities that were listed there. We'll have to go back there and take a look at that. But, it's all helpful stuff. Now, something else that we do whenever we're dealing with a new area, one of the first things that we do, and it's actually related back to the question here that Steve asked in the beginning, is we're going to check the comps. That's what I wanted to do here with this. I tried to pull up the comps there for Forrest County, and what we're looking at is just the vacant or raw land that is that's available. So we can see the way it's laid out. I think there was 162 results they had total, and you can see how they're laid out here in the county. But there was basically a couple of properties that started off pretty low here that have only been listed recently. One in 2000, and then it jumps up really.
Well, that one at 1,000. You can see that says coming soon, and it says Seven Hills auction. So that's an auction starting with an opening bid of 1,000 actually.
Yeah.
So that's not even a property that's for sale. So that means the cheapest property for sale is that one starting at $2,000, you know, and then moving up to 4,200.
Yeah, yeah, and so as we're looking at comps, this price range is really important to us because if we're looking to offer wholesale property, we're going to be coming in at that low end of the price spectrum because we're probably talking about land that we're going to be able to try to acquire for less than $1,000.
Yeah, and one thing we'll also look at, let's say we look at that one that's $2,000. That's actually a pretty good lot, pretty good price. I mean, I guess we can't see where the lot lines are. It could be, you know, it could be landlocked. There's different things that could be associated with it. But looking at that 0.34 acres, let's say we find a property that's an acre. Well, in just judging, you know, dollar per square foot, that means that an acre property at the very cheapest would be worth $6,000. If we're looking at it, you know, that $2,000 per square foot for 3/4 of an acre versus dollar per square foot versus a full acre.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, yeah, as we look down at the piece down there that's the largest it looks like, you know, is almost an acre there.
Yeah, and you can see
about 10.
You can see that it's listed for higher as well, you know, and it's about 3 times the size. And so we'll kind of look at the size, we'll look at the location, and then also in addition to this, you know, right here we're looking at the whole county as a whole. You know, we're also going to break that down within cities and within even areas within the cities, because you can see there's a river that splits. Maybe one side of the river has higher prices than the other side of the river, you know, or anything like that that can help us see, well, you know, actually within this mile section, the cheapest property is $10,000.
Yeah.
Or there's a ton within this section that are cheap. So, you know, if I do buy a property here, I've got to get it for real cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Which that's really what we want to see when we're looking at, you know, comps here in the area is we want to see, you know, how much real estate is listed there. You know, we also might try to look and see, you know, how many properties have sold to give us an idea of how long we might have to sit on it before it's sold. It might not sell quickly. You know, but again, a lot of that is about how it's priced and about who you are able to get that deal in front of. But in terms of how it looks from just the outset here, it looks pretty good. The comps are good, and certainly leave plenty of room for us, you know, to acquire properties and to be able to offer them there at wholesale prices. Now, whenever you're dealing with these Mississippi sales, the list is a little bit different, I guess unique. They provide it in a few different ways. One of the ways they provide it is their I don't know, it's like the buy it now listing or the notice. I think it's how they have I believe it's what I'm pointing to here, the property listing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, their PDF list is just kind of like a PDF list, but they are a little bit 2001.
Yeah.
You know, they are kind of a little bit, you know, old school as far as their website and things like that. But
yeah. Now, what I pulled up here is their list with the buy it now prices. The way the buy it now lists are posted, they go from value from you know, the property's market value going from high to low. And so what I did here was I grabbed the first page and I grabbed the last page, so that you know, you see basically the highest priced properties, and then you also can see the cheapest properties they have listed here. And then you can see the buy it now price next to each one of those, which is about 10%.
Have you looked up that top one yet?
Nope, not yet.
You know, $318,000. I'm interested to see what that's worth.
Yeah, we can see here the you know, the buy it now price is about 10-15% maybe of what the market value is, at least according to the, you know, we can see the numbers.
Yeah.
So just the buy it now, you know, prices are pretty good. In the last sale, they only did buy it now prices down to, like, I don't know if it was down to about the $800 mark, and so like half the property didn't have any kind of a price. But on this one, I think they have everything listed, you know, because they go right down to the properties that are valued down to about 2,500. So if there are any properties that are they're below that, I haven't found them yet. But this is always handy here, mostly as kind of a reference for what the buy it now price is. We often consider that when we're trying to determine what kind of an offer to make.
Yeah, and from what we've seen, we think that it's usually best to wait near the end of the auction if you are going to do lower offers. You can go ahead and submit an offer, it's not going to hurt. They're just going to counter offer you probably before then, because they're not going to accept less than the buy it now until the auction is, ended.
Yeah. So that type of list, that list you can download is handy in some ways, but the other way you can look at the list, I think, is probably more useful is through the Google Earth file that they have listed here. We can also access the list, the electronic version of it, or the online list, but we have to do that through the Forrest County auction. I believe it's the either the public notice or the buy it now notice. I think there's a link in there that we can use to get to the actual online auction if we can't get there from their website, because sometimes it doesn't work great. Now, this is just kind of a overview look at how the Google Earth map overlay program should pull up and should work. So essentially what they're really doing is just they are using an overlay program here to show us where the properties are at, and they're also attaching property information to it. So it's handy in a lot of ways. It's a good way to go through a list. And so I figure we could take a little bit of time to start looking at some of the properties that are available.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Yeah. All right, so let's.
One thing we might be able to look at as well quickly is, we're looking here at the Forrest County auction properties, but I really starting to think there could be an opportunity in, sending in offers on properties that didn't get sold to the last buy it now sell, or just sending in offers. I mean, worst case scenario, what's nice about Mississippi is you don't have to pay any cash up front to submit an offer, and you only have to send in the money if you accept the offer, or if their offer is accepted. If they accept your offer, they counter offer you. And so, with that kind of scenario, it's not going to hurt to go ahead and put in bids on some of these properties and see if they'll go ahead and get an accepted. Worst case scenario, they're going to send you a counter offer, and you can either accept or reject it.
Yeah, it is nice not being forced to include
send
the offer
money,
amount
anything like that.
until you've got something accepted.
Yeah, and you could all do it online as well. I mean, essentially, you do it kind of from the exact same page.
Yeah. So, this is the Secretary of State's website on, and from here under public lands, if we click on that, and I think just the public lands home will actually take us to the page we want.
I'm kind of wondered about some of those other lands that they have listed there. They have the public land, the agency held lands, the 16th section. I don't know if they're what they are, but I just kind of saw them.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of interesting. And they also have the tax forfeited inventory there.
Yeah, well, that's where you would click on that tax inventory to search it any county. So if we were to click on there, we could click on, Hinds County or any county that we're looking at that we're interested in researching, and it'll pull up a list similar to the auction online list. So they've got the hard list, and they also, where you're going to do bids, you're actually going to go to the online list to submit your offers. And it has kind of that same type of format where you can go ahead and submit an offer. So as you're going through, and let's say you're looking in Hinds County, or you pick out a county that you're interested within the state, you can go ahead and research and see which properties are still available, and just go ahead and submit an offer on them and see what happens.
Yeah. So Yeah, let's do this. Let's go to public lands home here. Now, let's look here, maybe just under current auctions. That's how they have it listed. And it pulls us here to the tax forfeited auction. Oh yeah, this actually allows us to get to the actual online version of the list here, which is where we would go to place bids.
Yeah, and it actually looks exactly the same when you're looking up, pretty much the same when you're looking up one of the other states, one of the other counties.
Yeah. Now, one of the challenges of these properties is it doesn't give us an abundance of information. So in other words, we can see some of the things about the property, like we can see the dimensions here, we can see the value, but click on the details here. This is really all that it gives us, which really isn't very much, but it can actually be useful though, because it does include a couple things that we need. The main details that we can glean from this are that the original tax sale date and tax sale year will tell us how long this property has been on the books and how long it's been since since it was really evaluated.
Yeah. In addition to that, we can also, of course, see the size, 83 by 145. We can also see how much the taxes are owed, and that may or may not be an indication of what they're trying to get out of the property. At least that's how much the back taxes were owed.
Yeah, and that can tell you at least maybe what the county may be likely to do, when it comes to an offer amount, in terms of which offers they're most likely to accept or reject. Now one of the things that with this is you can't arrow back on these pages or it messes you up completely. Yeah. You have to click here on the back to the auction page. Otherwise it will back you up too far. Now, like I said, this one it's kind of hard to do the research from here.
Well, really what you'd be doing is at this point is looking up Forrest County if you were just, taking those versus using the Google Doc. You're going to essentially look up any of the parcel numbers.
So why don't we do this? Let's go. Actually, let's do this. And
yeah, there's one thing that's nice about when they've set it up like this is they have these maps available that you can use to find where these properties are at. So you can kind of go through the map, find properties that you're interested in, write down those parcel number information, and then you can go ahead and search them in the auction area if you want to do a bid.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do, click on that, and click on that, and just move this out of the way here, and all right, here we go. Yeah, I do need to get some more RAM. So every time I try to run this thing, it just uses a little bit more than I think my system can really handle with it. Okay. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can approach this. We can zoom down a bit until we can see the properties, and then we can click on the properties from here. So, this particular property we can click on here.
It's 11 acres.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 11.5 acres of land there, valued at $37,000.
So it's probably got a buy it now price of $3 or $4 grand maybe.
Yeah, probably about 4,000 or so. We could go look and find the exact number, but that's probably about what it's going to be here. Now, let's take a look. And this property here, they're valuing at $17,600, and it's about 3.4 acres. It does look like it, it's definitely accessible.
Yeah, well, I think the trees are, you can see kind of underneath the tree, it's trees. It doesn't, the one thing about this program is it doesn't perfectly pull up all of the red, it's sometimes it's a little bit hard to see, and if there's a lot of tree cover, sometimes it'll kind of cover it a bit.
Yeah, so what we can do here though is we can see pretty quickly using this feature, which ones are junk.
Yeah.
Obvious junk property, kind of junk property probably.
I'm going a little closer. Let's see if that's a lot or not. I think it's a lot.
Market value of 17,000.
How big is it?
0.45.
Yeah, it's big enough.
Yeah, it probably is.
That's not a bad street. I mean, it's got a little pond across the street. And
no, it's pretty nice. It's
can
here
you
on
go
this
down to the
cul-de-sac.
street view from here?
No, not from this one. But Carnaby.
That is a nice. Those are nice homes right there.
Yeah, they are. What we can do though is we can go here and yeah, Carnaby.
Street or road, What county's it in? Or city?
Yeah, we're in Forrest. I don't know which one it is here.
Forrest County.
There we go. Must be looking at the city of Petal here.
That's it. I think. Click on the. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's it too. Now let's see. Oh, I don't know if it's
that last.
Yep, it's this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Corner. I mean the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a street side image here. So we can't really get down there on the street level to see. But yeah, it's this remaining property right here. 0.45 acres.
If we're interested in it though, we'd go ahead and take a look, at the homes in the area, get an idea of what the home values are, see if there's any lots for sale within this area. But it doesn't look like there's probably a few lots left, but most of it's filled. It's not like it's there's a bunch of empty lots.
Yeah, let's see here. So the value is 17,000. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what some of these other properties, but that's believable certainly with those homes.
Well, and if that depending on the cost to go ahead and finish the quiet title process on it, there could be enough value. Let's say that it's worth 20 grand and it's only $500 or $1,000 to have it quiet titled, or it's worth 25 or 30 grand. It could be worth that situation where instead of just wholesaling it, there could be enough value in that type of property to just go ahead and do something like quiet title.
Yeah. Now, from here, we've got a pretty good overhead image here. Let me just enlarge that just a little bit here. So we've got a pretty good overhead image of the main city area here that they have, where the majority of the property is going to be located at. And so, we can see, glimpses of, the red here, and we can see, glimpses of it here.
You can also see kind of little different towns as we're looking, Palmer's Crossing, Dixie Pine, kind of suburbs of Haight. Is it? What's the main town?
Is
it Hattiesburg?
Hattiesburg, or I think it's Hattiesburg. Maybe it's Hattiesburg. So that's our best guess anyway. Now, there are some interesting looking pieces here.
I don't know that commercial one down kind of by the building.
Let's see here. That is
8,000?
Yeah, it's 0.76 acres. Yeah, valued at $8,000.
A lot like that though, depending on the location, even doing something like fencing and having a fence lot and selling it as a fence lot for some, there's a lot of different uses that you can use for a piece of land when it's within a, commercial industrial area.
Yeah. Now here is about almost a full acre of land here, valued at 17,900. And you can see that this is one that we actually could find here, or at least take a look at here. Let me get a few. Dabs
John Street.
Dabs and Hall Avenue.
Yeah.
Dabs and Hall Avenue. Okay.
We're just looking, as we're looking at the map as well, one thing I'd like to check after we check this and see, do they provide you the additional file? You can just click on, the list.
Yeah. Oh, no, interesting here. Yeah, I think we can click on the list here, on this file. So let me so the property that we're looking at here that is for sale actually looks like it may have improved, it may have structures on it, at least if these are still there anymore. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can go to this corner right here. So that house, I believe, may be sitting on the property itself right now.
Is this a property that's just the street? No. Look, that house is right there. That's more. See what I'm saying? If we look back at the other Google map, it's more down the street.
Yeah, sure. We are at John right there, not. So we're at Hall and John here, and let's see, which way is it? Is it?
I think there's a creek that runs through it.
Yeah, we can kind of see that overhead. I think it's right up there. Let me back up here so that we can get an overhead look at it again. Here, let me enlarge this just a little bit here. We'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so it's on that corner, right, of Hall Avenue and that Dab Street. So there you go. We can kind of see.
It's kitty corner to that big white building to the right.
Yeah. Okay, that should help us see it here.
I think we got to go up more, do we?
No, these are the streets. At least we've got Hall here, and we've got Dab there, and we've got that must be the building that you're seeing here. So there's Dab Street, there's Hall, and so it basically runs up, and this looks like that creek or river there.
It's that right there.
Yeah.
We got to flip this around. We're kind of opposite of the other map.
Yeah, let's flip this around here. Maybe that'll help.
That's why it's looking so weird. So it's this piece right here, and that's that little house, and the house, one of the houses for sale actually, too, next to it.
Yeah, that is true. There we go.
Oh, I guess it's over the other way. This one here, on the other side of it.
Yeah, but that matches up there now, though.
So it's that house that's for sale too.
Yeah. So let's see here.
So, you know, it's the reason why probably somebody hasn't built on it. You might be able to build on that back end of it, you know, but there's a huge creek that's going to
look at
run right
that.
through it.
Yeah, that's the property right there. Big old grass property too.
It's actually, go down a little further. It's actually not that.
Well, other than it's probably not usable because of,
Yeah, well,
because
it
of,
looks like a park almost.
yeah,
The grass at least cut.
yeah, it very well could be. Now, that property right there is a little more interesting there. Market value of 12,000 and 0.61 acres there in a size, and we can click on the link on these to pull up that same record that we can locate there. If it will pull up, and this one's an old one too. We can see the tax year was 2010. Tax sale 2011. About $1,300 owed. Last reported value of 12,000.
Yeah, we also have a street there, 723 Walnut Street.
Yeah.
And then down there as well. We see that it's 75 by 75, so it's a little bit smaller lot, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that it's not buildable in an area like this.
Yeah, I wonder if this one's also Hattiesburg.
Probably.
Yeah, there we go. That's correct. Let's see. So there we can see that particular lot here, and let me go back to.
That actually looks a lot bigger than 75 by 75.
Yeah,
It's 0.61 acre.
yeah, it's a good half acre of land there. Now, seeing how some of these would be priced here, let's take a look at the other method here.
Yeah.
So
we can do that.
Yeah, we can use the base map that they've got right here to pull these up, and we can look at each property one by one, and hey, look, that one actually has a market value below 2,500. So there are properties. Here's one right here that that probably doesn't have a buy it now price listed, but only
if they don't have a buy it now, then it'd be easier on those ones. You could send in an offer because they don't have a buy it now.
Yeah, and that one's 0.54 acres. Let's see what it is. If you double click on it, so if you click on it once, it will pull up the record just so you can see it, but it won't take you there. If you double click on it, then it will shift the map and take you to the location here. So let's take a look at this. Oh, it's landlocked. Yeah, that's why. So there are I think three of them there, I do believe. Yeah, that's why they're valued low. Okay, so 3,600 on this one and 0.24 acres. Let's see what this one is.
Flying in this.
Yeah. Now this one I think is accessible here. Oh, nope, it's landlocked, or I can't tell. It's probably landlocked here.
It looks like there's a road going right along there. Perry Street, right above Perry Street. I wonder if that's another street, kind of a smaller one or not.
Yeah, that is a street. Yeah, I don't think it's totally landlocked. Although it is kind of weird to find that, this piece here. But, that one's kind of interesting. That one we could look at there.
Here. I mean, that almost looks like it has property. I mean, it has structure on it.
Let's see if these all come up differently. Yeah, 3 different lots there. All right, 36, 38. Okay, so one of the things we can do though is we can start, value on that one is like nothing, $860 sounds junk property.
You know, if there was one that wasn't landlocked and had size, like say that little one right there, I mean, it's kind of weird, but you know, and it has a low value, that's where you could conceivably do a $50 or $100 bid.
Yeah.
You know, usually they're not going to accept, you know, those low bids in Mississippi, but on something with that low of assessed value, that's where we'd really check the market value, make sure that it has use. But if there's more value, let's say it's worth $3,000 and you get it for 50 or 100, you know, you sell it for 1,500, 2,000, sell it to a neighbor or something like that.
Yeah, that property right there might, you know, could be one like that. I mean, it's only, you know, market value is only $1,000. So, you know, you could probably get this property for about $100.
Man.
You know, and you know, what would be interesting to look at is to see, you know, what the value on it might actually be. It also would be interesting to see if it's under assessed. Yeah, look how old it is. This is, they're guaranteed it's an under assessed property.
Yeah.
You know, this property is from it's
20 years old.
Yeah, it's from 1999 tax year, and 2000 was the tax sale. So it is, yeah, almost 20 years old now, and its last reported market value was $1,000. Do you think it's still $1,000? No way. You know, in fact, if we were to look here, it might be kind of interesting to look. So it's on Malcolm and South Washington Avenue. So we could look at Malcolm Street here. And the reason I want to pull this up here is because I would like just to pull up Zillow really quick to see what some of the properties around there.
Yeah, you know, one quick thing to mention is when we're looking at a new area like this, we usually don't recommend buying more than 1 or 2 properties within a county until you've got a chance to fill out that county. So, you know, what we wouldn't want you to do is suddenly go buy 20 properties there because you can get them for $200 a piece, and then suddenly you have 20 properties trying to list that many properties within the area. So unless you have a holding strategy, what we generally like to do is, you know, if we can pick up a couple of properties, that's awesome. And then if we are able to sell them, we can always go back and do more offers to the state. And as you start getting a relationship with people down there at the state office, as you start buying properties, you know, we've seen them be more accepting of different offers to get those properties sold.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I was just going to take a look at this. Oh, it's in Dixie Pine. See, so this is actually its own little city here. Dixie Pine is actually where that property is located at here. So if I go,
Probably gonna race in Forrest County. Maybe not. Oh, we still have Malcolm Street on it.
Oh yeah. There we go. It's interesting to pull that one up for us.
I wonder if the Forrest County is confusing it all, if it's putting us in the right area. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see here. Let's just pull up. I think it's actually getting it correct.
You know, it may not have any property for sale within the area, or it may be not a city, more of kind of a area or subdivision.
Yeah, it may be considered Hattie's, you know.
Yeah, kind of an area within the city.
Yeah, because in fact, that's it right there. It's Dixie Pine. Yeah, in fact, yeah, we can see right there where it is, where it's located at here in between. And so if we start looking here,
Not a
though,
ton of real estate for
no,
sale there.
there's not really very much real estate is available. And the cheapest property that we have here in the area is
Lot for $6,000.
a lot that's listed for $6,000. These others are listed at 12,000 in the nearest vicinity here. Here we go. Now that one, let's see where that's at.
It's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of these properties are way underassessed. I mean, that's definitely one that we're looking at that certainly has a value that's a lot higher, than I mean, not being assessed since 1999.
No, and there's a nice little lot right there. Has good size to it.
Yeah, let's see. This one has a market value of 7,000.
Quite a bit more. And let's look on it and see when the sale was. I'm curious.
2012, yeah, 2011.
Sold, but newer.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes are only $850, so you might, be able to get a lower offer accepted.
Yeah, but on some of these that do have old assessments, so some value of 40, 130. That's about a half acre. Again, 2011, 2012, which again, I think those assessments are going to be probably low, but not as low as you'll have if it's an even older, even older assessment. And we've got that one at 3,500. So some of these, I mean, valued at 3,500, we're talking you can get for probably around, buy it now of around $400. Now, when we do submit offers, they submit counter offer to us, but you're not obligated to do anything with the counter offer. And this one's valued at 6,300. Now let's go up here, because really there are some pretty good pieces of property here. Highly usable pieces. And 12,000 is landlocked. Market value of 12,000. Let's see if we can find.
We're getting near our time.
We are out of time. I want to see if I can find that one that's valued at 300,000. See if we can spot that one. But again, this sale just started today, so we can just begin to look at some of these properties. There's going to be great stuff, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we'll see everybody in a minute here on the weekly webinar.
Yep. Talk to you soon.